Hello, this is PG. Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Stalker Legends of the Zone Trilogy. The game is available on PlayStation and Xbox. Stalker Legends of the Zone Trilogy is a remastered version of 3 survival horror games in the first-person style developed by GSC Game World. The 3 games in question are Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat. Now, I've reviewed all 3 of these individually. If you'd like to see an in-depth review for each, I'll put links in the comments and description. This review will just give you broad strokes. Okay, gameplay. Well, Stalker is a first-person shooter set in a zone. This zone is around the Chernobyl nuclear plant. It's full of warring factions, hostile enemies, mythical kind of supernatural elements like anomalies. There are artifacts to collect. These give you buffs. And there's a whole plethora of weapons and various things to find. For me, the most notable thing about Stalker is the world building. All 3 games have a sense of the world being alive. It's not like a game world where you walk around and there's nothing happening. There are things happening. Radiation is there, anomalies are there, then they're not. One place is dangerous, one place is safe, the next time you go there it's the other way around. You have to work for factions, then you can buy things from them. And if we take the 3 games as individuals, Shadow of Chernobyl was the first one that came out. Very difficult combat, brutal, but a really sort of interesting introduction into this sort of sci-fi type world. Clear Sky is a prequel, but it was the second game produced. This is a lot more immediate. It's a lot more kind of narrative driven from the beginning, and it guides you a little bit better. And it also added things like customization to your weapons, and also a more complex faction mode, and the faction mode really makes the game world feel alive. The final of the trilogy was Call of Pripyat. This for me was the most cinematic of the 3. It added a lot of references to the Stalker movie and the Roadside Picnic novel. So yeah, they're all, do you know what, they're all good games, and I would say you don't need to play them in order, chronological order or release order. You can play them in any order you like, because the stories, there is a connection in some regard, but they're all very much standalones that you could just jump into. So you're getting 3 really nice games. I would say though, this trilogy, when you have trilogy collections, you kind of want bonuses and extras in there. It doesn't really have anything. It does have a new, is it Modio? The mod feature content, you can add mods, which is a nice feature. I haven't used them, but that's there. But I was hoping there would be more sort of concept art behind the scenes or stuff like that. But it's understandable, they're working on Stalker 2, so you have to kind of let them off a bit in that regard. But yeah, gameplay, they're very tense, very atmospheric, very difficult, quite bleak and depressing, very Soviet in that respect, but really the kind of slow burn games that you get on the PC back in the day that really just slowly creep up on you, and you just absolutely feel like you're living in this world. In terms of graphics and sound is hit and miss. There's a few issues in some of the games with cutting out sounds. The graphics are better than the original games because they've been remastered a little, but still it's a little bit janky because these are quite old. You have to remember that. But in general, graphics and sound, it does the job. Anyway, verdict, I've reviewed them all individually. I've given them good scores. I'd say this trilogy, it's a good trilogy. It's not necessarily a trilogy that follows on completely. You can play them as standalones, but they are 3 iconic video games that not only influenced games at the time, they've influenced games for decades. They are some of the most iconic, and you could talk about Stalker in the same way you can talk about From Software, I think, in terms of cultural influence into gaming development. Because you look at what Stalker did, and then you look at a lot of other games out there, the influence is hard to deny. So influential games, a bit old and a bit janky, and modern gamers might find them hard, but they're worth it. They are absolutely worth it. And as a side note, if you want to watch a documentary about the origins of Stalker, I did one called The Zone. I'll put a link again in the description and the comments. But anyway, scoring Stalker Legends of the Zone Trilogy, I'd give it an 8 out of 10 for the trilogy, because I think they could have added more in here in terms of making it a nice collector's package. But yeah, they're all good games, and I would strongly recommend them if you have patience, because if you have patience, these are glorious in terms of immersion. Anyway, that's the review. Thanks for watching. This is PG signing off. Cheers.